Jammu and Kashmir is witnessing a historic moment as the first phase of assembly polls are on the anvil. 219 candidates are in the fray for 24 seats. It's been 5 years since the abrogation of Article 370 and 10 since the last assembly polls in the Union Territory. Very soon, 23 lakh citizens are going to queue up in front of voting booths to cast their mandate, to elect their representatives, that is. Today's Jammu and Kashmir is a testament to the power of transformation. We have seen the remarkable increase in the voter turnout, which stood at 58% during Lok Sabha polls. We have just heard from the people on the ground. Let's now also rope in the experts to decode what will happen during this mandate. And joining us on the platform to talk more about this at this point in time is Major General Shashi Asthana, defense expert. Brigadier Rajan Jamwal, defense expert, also joins us on the program. Dr. Ramesh Raina, Kashmiri Pandit, with us on the show as well. Last but by no means the least, Mr. Vijay Kranti, chairman of Chase, is also joining us on the broadcast. General Asthana, I'll begin with you. Well, 5 years since the abrogation of Article 370. If you go by the political parlance, which started after the abrogation of Article 370 and the rhetoric that still exists when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir, that nothing has changed. There's still insurgency. There are still, people crossing over and fomenting trouble. There are still locals who are indulging in, giving patronage to terrorists and naysayers across the border. But we all know that is not true. That has changed. You can gauge that by the investment that is poured into Jammu and Kashmir. You can gauge that, by the tourism and the increase in tourism in the last 5 years. Security is still a concern, but for a problem, General Asthana, which has lasted decades, 5 years perhaps, is not relevant or not enough for a complete 180-degree turnaround, but it's a good change in the last 5 years, and that's exactly what the people are going to be voting for. General Asthana.
Democracy is, in fact, elections are a celebration of democracy. And as you rightly mentioned, since the abrogation of Article 370, there has been an all-round development. The economic as well as the social landscape has changed. And not only the people of Kashmir, people outside who have to invest there, and people who are going for tourism, they also see a new Kashmir coming up. And I think it's a time to celebrate as far as the elections are concerned, and as far as a developmental statement in Kashmir is concerned. You mentioned about the security problems. There is no doubt that there has been tremendous amount of insurgency and terrorism and a proxy war and a hybrid war from the other side, which is propagating into Kashmir and creating a fair amount of trouble. Since the cause for which it happened, that has not gone away. So therefore, the remnants of terrorism are still there and will continue to be. Because the terrorism in Kashmir suits Pakistan army to remain in power and to nurture the India threat theory. And that is the theory for their existence, and they are holding all the powers in Pakistan. So therefore, they won't let it go so easily. And same is the case with the ISI. As far as certain locals are concerned, it has become an industry. There is a population, a segment of population, which is used to this terrorism industry because they stopped working elsewhere and they started contributing to terrorism and were getting good money out of it. And therefore, the lure for money is making a number of them continue with it even when the cause is not there. But at the same time, the security forces have also evolved, notwithstanding what happened in the last 3-4 months in Jammu, which is again an aberration because of the security grid and because of the troop density and all other factors which we have been discussing over your channel a number of times. But a lot of steps have also been taken. The troop density has increased. We talked on your channel regarding the village defense groups. Now they are in place. They have been trained and given better weapons. And there is a fair amount of confidence, and this confidence is being seen in the campaigning as well when we look at it. So we are very sure that these elections, nobody can disrupt these elections, although the intention of the Pakistanis will certainly be there to disrupt this election, because that actually throws their narrative out of the window that Kashmir is disturbed. But I am very sure that barring few incidents which you can't avoid, considering the kind of determination with which they would like to derail the elections, and some remnants of terrorists already existing. So we will have to be careful. Security forces will have to be careful. But notwithstanding that, we are all thumbs up for election, and I'm sure whichever government is formed, it is better for the democracy and for the country.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Kranti, this is obviously a testament to our strong democratic roots, and it may have taken some time for something like this, to transpire. But obviously, the government is also wary of, the security challenges that exist in Jammu and Kashmir. Do you think that over the years, the government too has become a little more confident in making Jammu and Kashmir, part of the benefits that the rest of the country, has taken from the central government, and this is a good start, and this is perhaps the opportune time, since India is inviting a lot of investments. India is the 5th largest economy of the world. It is important for us to share, this particular credential with Jammu and Kashmir as well.
I would agree and also disagree with General Asthana in his assessment. I would agree that a good ground has been covered over last 5 years, and but I would say that if anybody is hoping that these elections are the last solution to the Kashmir problem, sadly I disagree very strongly, because not a single element or factor which was basically responsible for all separatism, terrorism, and anti-India sentiments, I don't think those things have been removed. First is, I am surprised, with all due respect to our, justice delivery system. I won't name judges, but unfortunately, the same Supreme Court becomes very, very sensitive about the absence of elections to the assembly. But we have yet to hear from the same honorable judges any statement or any instruction to the government that the population equilibrium which existed before 1990, from where the whole poisonous process started, it has not been rehabilitated, and none of our judges ever thought of instructing the government or the machinery to rehabilitate that population in equilibrium or equilibrium. Almost every single non-Muslim who was thrown out of Kashmir over last 40 years has returned to Kashmir. If you see the entire demography, you find then it will help you in agreeing with those people who believe that the Kashmir issue is not an issue of democracy or autonomy or some freedom. It is 100% or 1,000% issue of Islamic war. It is a pure Islamic war in which right from 1931, I am telling 1931, when Sheikh Abdullah gave the call to cleanse all rural areas of Jammu Kashmir of the infidels, of kafirs, and thousands of Hindus and Sikhs were murdered, their properties were looted, they were thrown out of their villages in 1931, and that process is going on, and never this equilibrium has been reversed. So number one is, there is no rehabilitation of population equilibrium, which would have otherwise played an important role in bringing some peace or sense to the people of Kashmir, especially their leadership. And then there is total cleansing. You will be I'm a journalist, and you will be surprised to see that for last 40 years, more than 40 years, the entire media of Srinagar, Kashmir, has been ethnically 100% cleansed. I'm saying 100%. If you go and see the list of accredited correspondents of Kashmir government, the Kashmir administration, you will find that out of 172, 169 are local Muslims. And the three, I don't think those who are non-Muslim, they are ever functional. I don't mean that the journalist in Kashmir is anti-India or is not honest in reporting. But the atmosphere in Kashmir is such that none of these, I'm saying none of these journalists, those who are good journalists, have the courage to speak truth. Whatever news you are getting in India or rest of world from Kashmir is a filtered news. So Modi government has failed on this account of ethnic cleansing of media. Otherwise, you just see Hindustan Times, Times of India, Indian Express, Asian Age, Telegraph, Hindu, India Today, Week, and even foreign newspaper and agencies like New York Times, Guardian, CNN, Washington Post, PTI, UNI, AP, AFP, Reuters. Every single reporter is a Kashmiri Muslim. Hindustan Times has no courage to depute a non-Muslim in Kashmir, nor Indian Express has. So what you are getting is a kind of propaganda, a kind of narrative which forces inside Kashmir are developing.
Okay, those are some strong points.
Last point is that we are talking of this election as a panacea, but unfortunately, the last delimitation commission has completely failed in attending to the basic issue of the representation, or what you call proportional representation. I don't want to go in details, but the last assembly had 111 seats, and 46 were for Kashmir, 37 for Jammu, and 4 were Ladakh. And now they have changed it a little bit. There are now 114 seats, 47 with Kashmir Valley, 43 with Jammu, and then two nominated POJK Kashmiris. But 24 seats have been left vacant right from 1951, which means there is a perpetual dominance of Kashmiri, one ethnic group, the Muslims, over the entire state's politics. So what was the problem in leaving these 24 seats to those POJK people who are living in India? Their number is in lakhs inside Jammu Kashmir and outside. But it was not done. So this was the last chance which the central government has lost. So I don't see that the basic elements are going away.
All right, so you've made some strong points worth pondering over. And you've also said that elections are not the panacea that Jammu and Kashmir is looking for. Let me open Dr. Ramesh Raina and get a response to what exactly you have said. Mr. Raina, do you concur? Dr. Raina, do you concur with what Mr. Kranti has said? That there is also a role of propaganda, and we really need to, in fact, look at this problem in a non-binary fashion.
First of all, thanks, Vineet, for giving me an opportunity to speak from this platform. I do partly agree with Mr. Kranti. Most of the things what he has said are true. See, first of all, we have to understand one very important thing. 219 candidates are in fray for tomorrow. Out of that, 90 candidates are independent candidates. That means you have 42% of candidates who are independents. And 42% of candidates, majority of them carry a separatist sentiment with them. Very recently, I will say, when Engineer Abdul Rashid fought from Baramulla parliamentary constituency, he was leading in 14 assembly seats out of 18 assembly segments. And imagine whom he made to lose. It was Scion of National Conference, Umar Abdullah, former Chief Minister and currently the Vice President of National Conference. It was not a very small defeat. Had there been somebody else who had lost, then things would have been different. But making former chief minister to lose by more than 2 lakh votes is a story in itself. And he has put almost 20 to 30 candidates this time in the fray. Therefore, these independent candidates are carrying a separatist sentiment with them. Let me tell you one more thing, one very important thing. In 1951, when Constituent Assembly was formed in Kashmir, all the 75 candidates, National Conference won all the 75 candidates. Whichever way, that is not the subject matter of debate of the current this debate. But from 1951 till 1991, a dysfunctional political culture was created there where, despite J&K having 3 provinces, Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, the politics always remained Kashmir-centric and Kashmir-specific. And it was Kashmir which always used to call shots for rest of the state. Therefore, there was always a problem with Jammu people who always felt let down. And the result of that was Amarnath land agitation. Amarnath land agitation reached to such a state where there was a total schism between Jammu and Kashmir. And imagine, in 2014, PDP got 28 seats from Kashmir, which is mostly a Muslim belt. She got Muslim votes, 28 seats. BJP got 25 seats from the Hindu belt, that is Jammu. And National Conference got 15 seats, mostly from Kashmir. And Congress got 12 seats, almost from Muslim belt and few from Jammu. Therefore, even this time also there is a stage when you are holding elections after 10 long years. It is a high stakes battle. Why? Because there is a new era of politics, and in this new era of politics there is an intense rivalry with one important thing, which is a collecting thread and a common thing in all the political parties of J&K, that is a collective desire to prevent BJP from forming the government. And having said that, if you look at their manifestos, political manifestos have something like same thing to say, to fuel, to inject momentum to the separatist sentiment. For example, National Conference says that the 2000 resolution that was adopted in the Assembly, which calls for greater autonomy, has to be adopted. We will try to adopt the same thing this time. That means they are reversing the clock and taking back Kashmir to 1953 position. And 1953 position means no Supreme Court, no central laws, just few things which existed at that point of time. Not only that, I said last time also, whenever I got an opportunity to speak from your platform, name changing. They say that Holy Shankaracharya will be renamed as Kohimaran. They say Hari Parbat will be Shankaracharya will be named as Takht-i Sulaiman and Hari Parbat as Kohimaran. So this is something being seen. It has sent scares down the minorities. And if you look at another things, so there is an intense rivalry, and this intense rivalry is going to shape the political landscape of Kashmir. Never forget that these people who are as independents, they are going to play a key role and a very important role in these elections. Therefore, the mainstream political parties will have to depend heavily on the people who will win as separatists. And who are those separatists? Those separatists are mostly backed by Engineer Abdul Rashid. Those separatists would be mostly backed by Jamaat-e-Islami. And we know the ideology of Engineer Abdul Rashid. We know the ideology of Jamaat-e-Islami. Therefore, the mainstream parties, whosoever comes at the center of affairs, will have to cushion in a soft separatism in their administration, will have to cushion in the idea of religion into the mainstream functioning of the administration. And imagine what is going to happen to non-Muslim minorities like Kashmiri Pandits, as Mr. Kranti very wisely said, that we have been in wait for all those 35 years when a political party makes an announcement that we are going in for name changing of those places which don't belong to Kashmiri Pandits, but it is a heritage of Kashmir which is there for the past 5,000 years, and this is a shared heritage of all the Kashmiris. What is going to, that means the Hindu dimension of Kashmir is being willfully kept under the carpet. So we see. So, for example, the PDP manifesto. What does it say? It says people's aspiration. Does people's aspiration mean revival of Article 370? Is there an aspiration? So, can we say that the number of people who are going to vote this time are going in for a protest vote for the revival of for having a revival of Article 370, for having this resolution adopted in J&K Assembly in 2000 to be adopted? Is that the kind of situation that we are going to face? If that is so, what is going to be the future of Kashmir? What is going to be future of the administration that is going to come? Therefore, for us, for all of us, for all of my co-panelists and for all those viewers, it's absolutely important. You have to understand, out of 23 lakh voters, you have 1.23 lakh young voters in the age group of 18 and 19. And it is this very group which is wooed by all these parties. What is the incentive? What is the argument they are giving them? The argument is the same, that we are going to revive Article 370 when Supreme Court has buried it for all times to come. They are telling them we are going in for greater autonomy, so on and so forth. So for us in this debate, it assumes significance more than ever before, that but at the same time, I must say that Congress, even though it was late, it only came out with its manifesto 48 hours before the election.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Let me also bring in. Yeah, quickly, sir.
Give me a second.
Quickly, sir.
Give me a second. Just one point. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's rehabilitation program for Kashmiri Pandits shall be revived and implemented in letter and spirit. Very healthy one. We will take further concrete steps to create conducive atmosphere for the safe and dignified return and rehabilitation of the displaced Kashmiri Pandit community. And one more thing, they are saying that we will grant them minority status. There is a similarity between BJP manifesto and Congress in this regard. So what I am saying is that the national political parties and the state political parties are not on the same page, even though National Conference and Congress are in alliance. Despite all that, they are having friendly contests at 4 places.
Brigadier Jamwal, your assessment of what's likely to change after these elections, and also reflect upon what the previous panelists have enunciated.
These panelists have brought out the fault lines in our Kashmir's history, right from 1931, the Muslim Conference, and the Gaud got transferred to National Conference. 51, the Constituent Assembly, all 75 seats won by the National Conference. The Prajapati, the other parties, basically their nominations were rejected. That was one of the biggest frauds in history ever. And from there started the list of long fraud, which finally culminated in 1990, where there was a mass exodus. Now, all this is known part of history. Now, what we are trying here is, how do we undo history? Everybody wants, at least states, they want the Kashmir Pandits to come back. So the problem is known. Does anybody has any solutions? I had projected some solutions there. You see, the thing like, Panun Kashmir, one big land area, something like Israel created somewhere in South Kashmir, will just not work. It will not work because you cannot, it will be something like a West Bank settlement. Putting them in their old homes again will not work, because they have been, not only they have been occupied, they can be retrieved back and handed over to them. But then who will protect them? You can't put a platoon or a company at every household. So there has to be a practical way of dealing with these things. Now that I find not in any other discussion. I had propagated some time back creation of some economic zones in Kashmir, which is a mixed and which could be done. End of the day, what we are talking is bringing back the demographic profile to 1990 levels. This is the end problem. We want to achieve that because that will bring us some semblance of, undoing what has been done. So the way to do is, one is establishment of this 4 or 5 special economic zones. Maybe habitated by Kashmiri Pandits, ex-servicemen, a mixture. A person like me could say that could be one solution. Secondly, we say when all this happened, you see, if for India it is not the first time. We are the only country in the world which has the record of dealing with insurgencies successfully. We did in Punjab. We totally obliterated Ulfa in Assam and all. In Punjab in 1990 we did it. What is that which we worked there and we could not do in Kashmir? And you say all this project. One of course is Pakistan. Because in all those areas, in Khalistan movement, Pakistan was still there. All this, it is very similar to what was happening in J&K. The Khalistan movement are totally sponsored by Pakistan. Their agents, money, weapons, something very similar, this thing. And in fact, in Kashmir today, you have come to a better situation because now there are hardly any local terrorists. There, at least the terrorists were mostly locals who were sent abroad, trained and all. Now the locals have stopped giving terrorism. So Pakistan has to rely totally on their breed, which is getting from Afghanistan and even beyond, further west, right from ISIS and all, more trained people.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.